One thing about Zanzibar is that it's not something to be explained, it's something to be experienced. Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Gamo and K. So I recently took a solo trip to Zanzibar for my birthday, and a lot of people have been asking me about the expenses, costs, tips, and all of that. So I decided to do this video in honor of that, and no gatekeeping. I'm going to be telling you all the information. So welcome to a series that I call Become a Better You, a life coaching series. But first, let us go to the Word of God, because on this channel our mantra is standing upon the Word of God above all. So the first book of the Bible, chapter 2. See, my sister was teasing me a few days ago because I said Genesis. Oh, she's been living in the UK for the past 10 years. But my Zimbabwean A-E-I-O-U and Gagegigogu makes me say Genesis, Abraham, Eli. But beyond the seas, they say Genesis, Abraham, Eli. So when I say Genesis now, it's weird. And Genesis, it's even weirder. I mean, rato drama. So let us just go to the first book of the Bible, chapter 2, verse 2 to 3. And on the seventh day, God finished the work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all his work that he had done in creation. First thing that we see here is that God established the principle of rest, and he rested after he had worked. It's 6 days of work and then he rested. I say this because I don't want us to say I'm resting when it is a sign or an excuse of our laziness. And working can be different from each and every one of us. It might mean being a mom, taking care of the kids. Working might mean going to your regular job or starting a project, spearheading a business, leading a ministry, leading a church. Working might mean recording a song. Working might mean writing a book, doing a project, or whatever. So working can be different depending on the seasons of our lives. But whatever it is, the principle is that after you work, you must rest. The reason I say this because a lot of us, we are running on empty. We are going and going that we do not have time to refuel. We do not have time to rest. In John chapter 4, Jesus got tired. The Son of God got tired, and he went to a well where he got refreshed and nourished. And some of us, we are so tired, but we do not get time to rest. First Kings, we see the prophet Elijah, a mighty man of God, a mighty prophet. He got tired because he was going, and because of that he began to say, "Oh Lord, I am the only prophet left." And he was wrong, because there were other prophets that God had hidden. He began to say, "Lord, take my life." All he needed to do was rest. All he needed to do was to eat and to sleep. And the Bible says that he went there a 40 days journey because of the time that he had ate and he had slept. So sometimes all you need to do is to rest and not to quit. Sometimes you're not weak, you're just weary. You're just tired and you need to rest. You see, when you are too tired and too fatigued, we cannot hear God clearly. And we cannot serve him clearly. We'll become like Elijah and to say, "I'm the only one serving you, God. I'm the only one doing this," when we are wrong about it, because there are a lot of people who are doing great and amazing things for God. But just because we are tired, we are weary, we are exhausted, we see things from a wrong point of view. Rest. You need to rest. I've been reading God's generals, and I say that most of these generals, they were too tired, they were too exhausted. They kept on going, and some of them, they had mental health issues. Some of them, they died too young because they were exhausted. They never got time to rest. That is what we need to do. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, Jesus says, "Come to me, you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Then the psalmist will say, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." And green pastures, they are places of rest. Still waters, they are places of refreshment. That is what we need to do sometimes. You work and then you rest. And I believe that this is a concept that we need to apply even in our churches, because some of our ministers and our pastors, they are so exhausted. I know of an American pastor who goes on 6 weeks sabbatical. No church business, he's just resting. Some of his viral messages and best-selling books have been from that moment of rest. Some of our pastors, they keep on going. They need to rest. And some of the church leaders, you need to rest. Come to church, sit in the congregation, hear the message, greet one another, and go home. Take some time off to say, you know what, this month I just want to rest. Then when you come back, you will be refreshed, you will be nourished and ready to serve. I've seen it even at work, that when people go on leaves or when people go on sabbatical, they come back stronger and there's this glow about them because they got time to rest. If you notice, most of the times, Monday and Tuesday, we are pumped up because most people get to rest during the weekend. But if you do not rest during the weekend, Monday, you're drained, you're tired. That is why rest is so important. You work and then you rest. This is a principle that we must adopt, and resting can take a whole lot of forms. For me, it was going on the streets. Maybe for you, it's just taking a day out and sitting at home. But whatever it is, find what works for you. Find what is economical for you. Find what it is that you do just to rest. And I tell you, when you come back, you'll be amazing. You'll be refreshed and nourished and ready to get back on the track again. Right, so now let's talk about Zanzibar. So why Zanzibar? Let me go all the way to the beginning and shout out to my cousin Nikki. What she did is that she made this, she had this wine bottle, beautiful green bottle, which was beautiful, and she labeled it birthday fund. So she would be putting in some money. Then she showed a reel where she broke the bottle and then went to Vic Falls on your birthday, and it was super cute. So when I saw her video, I was really inspired and said, you know what, I need to do this. But then as I thought about the places to go, I was like, I've been to a lot of these places. I've been to Vic Falls 3 times, to Matopo Hills, Kariba, Great Zimbabwe, Chinoi Caves, Wange National Park, and all of that. So I was like, I really need to go to a new place. And I kid you not, at that point, my heart was like Zanzibar. But then I was like, Yui, why am I being too ambitious? And then I brushed it off. So fast forward, there's this group that I'm in, Woman to Woman, shout out to them. So what happened is that it was marketing day and everyone was telling their business, what they do. And this travel agent, she made a quotation and gave us a package. And I was like, wow, this thing is affordable. So I went to her inbox and she made me a quotation and, you know, all of the expenses. So as I looked at it, I was like, you know what, this is very much achievable. This is very much doable. But I ended up not using her because one of my friends went to Zanzibar and she gave me a breakdown and realized most of the things on a package, they had been doubled the price. So I just decided to do it on my own, and shout out to Kuzi. Right, so that is how I settled to going to Zanzibar, and there was just so much peace about it, right? Then when it came to the money, I tried the birthday fund, I tried the piggy bank, but it just didn't work for me. I guess I wasn't disciplined enough to maintain it. What I ended up doing is that I used the money from a stock vault that I played with my co-workers. The common Zimbabwean term is round, and this is a round that I played for over 10 months. I say this because you might be looking at it and you say, I can't afford it. Same here, guys, same here. I literally get paid peanuts in Zungumari, but it was that discipline and that thing of knowing that, you know what, this money I'm going to invest, no, not invest it, but I'm going to save it. Save it by playing around. And when it comes back to me, it would be more at a certain amount of time, right? So that is what I did. Around that, I played over 10 months to spend in a week. But it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. So you can start saving today for maybe next year Christmas, for your next birthday. I know of someone who's 28 and they've already started saving for their 30th birthday. So this thing is doable, and trust me, you will not regret it, right? First cost, which is going to be the major cost, and that is the plane ticket. The price range for my dates and days, I just played around with the days around my birthday. So it was $450 to $650. Now this includes the return ticket, right? And it's 2 flights from Harare to Dar es Salaam and from Dar es Salaam to Zanzibar, right? So what you can do is that you can choose to take a ferry when you reach to Dar. It's cheaper that way because in most cases local flights are more expensive, so you can cut out a bigger costs, right? And so taking a ferry, it's about 1 hour 30 minutes, but then by plane it's 18 minutes. So you can just choose what works for you, right? And mind you, I booked my ticket 3 months before, so the earlier you book, the better. 450 to 650, somewhere in between there. So that is the major expense, that is the major cost, right? So let's go to the day of going, guys. I was so excited. Like I said before, it was my first time traveling. I'd never been out of Zimbabwe, except for the times that I'd gone to Zambia for 1 hour or 2 hour shopping on a school trip, and I never even used my passport for that. So literally getting out of the country to say just going somewhere, I had never done that. My passport had never been stamped, but this time around I was going. And you know what, I had been to the airport a number of times, like a lot of times. So we are like 9 in our family, including my parents, right? And every one of them had been to different countries. In fact, they have all been out of Africa. They've been to a different continent, except for me. So because of their constant traveling, I'd been to the airport a lot of times, guys, dropping them off or picking them, right? But this time around, I was going to the airport, not to pick them, not to drop them off, but to go. It was me going this time, and I was just so excited and happy about it. Took some pictures, I got my passport out, and they gave me a boarding pass, guys. I got a boarding pass for the first time. I mean, I had only seen it on pictures, you know, those Instagram stories and what. But this time I got it. This time it was me going through the security checkpoint. This time around it was me finding my boarding gate. And shout out to our Zim government. Our remodeled airport really looks nice. It's beautiful. So I was finding my boarding gate. Then it was time to get into the plane. Guys, it is this cool environment. Not cold, but this coolness that was just there. And I remember just saying like, wow, like I could feel my feet, you know. It was just beautiful. Then finding my seat, and I thank God, guys, I had a window seat. And that is exactly what I needed for the content. And then takeoff was beautiful. A time when we were just like, and then I felt some, and I was like, wow, this is what people feel. So I had the window seat, right? And I remember looking down, and it was just beautiful, like seeing the area of view. I was just like, God, you are a wonderful creator. You know, my all-level geo came alive. You know, that area of view, that satellite thingy. I mean, I'd only seen it in pictures or on my Google Maps, but this time around, I was beholding it. And I could see the clouds. We were in between the clouds, and I could start recalling the names of the clouds, and I was like, that are stratus, that are cumulus, that are nimbus stratus. Even though I was just lying to myself, I didn't even know which cloud was it, but I was just recalling the names that we learned in geo. Right, and I remember at that point singing a song that we used to sing in high school, which says, Dengari no taura, neze ukuru wa mwari, nekunaka kwe mabasa, akaitwa na Jehova, nekunaka kwe mabasa, akaitwa na Jehova. So it was just a wow moment for me. Just looking at the window, it was just beautiful, guys. I was like, God, wow, you really did the thing when you created. Right, and then we had my first landing was in Zambia when we reached KK. I remember, you know, that thing, cabin crew, take your seats, blah 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 blah, we're about to land, and then like descending, like, whoo. So I remember looking at the window, you know, that time when you feel the when the tires get on the ground, like that landing. And I looked at my window and I saw welcome to KK, and it was moving fast because we were still moving. Welcome to Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. And I was just like, wow, that landing was so good. And you know, the jitters of saying of the plane landing, it was amazing. Guys, you should fly. You should really fly. And this was an economy ticket, so I can imagine when it becomes business class or first class, good time. Yeah, so then we took off. And then the meal was good. The meal was good. It was warm. In fact, it was hot in a good way. And then my favorite part of the meal was this dark chocolate cake that we had. It was like I could feel the creaminess and the chocolatiness, and it was the best of the best, right? So then we reached Tanzania, and it was now dark. I remember seeing the city lights. I was like, wow. As we were descending, it was just beautiful. I remember seeing the congestion. It was beautiful. I mean, of course, the people in the congestion would be frustrated, but for me, seeing it, seeing it like that, it was beautiful. It was really great, and it was a beautiful sight to behold. It was really a beautiful sight to behold. Right. So we then arrived at Julius Nyerere International Airport in Dar es Salaam, and there are 3 important things that I need to share with you. So the first thing that you need is a yellow fever vaccination card. And unfortunately, I didn't know about this one. When you do your research about the countries, about the visa, blah, 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 I didn't come across this one. So I ended up being vaccinated at the airport, and that was like $50. Right, but someone said here in Zim, when you do it in Zim, it's $10. So it's something that you really need to have. And the important part and the good part about it is that it's for a lifetime. So wherever that you need to go, you can just travel with it at no additional cost. All you need is just to produce that vaccination document, that vaccination card. Then the second thing that you need to do is that you need to get a SIM card. And that is $10. I got a SIM card. They loaded it with data, and it was just, guys, even in in the sea, there was no network. There was network. No, in the ocean. It's the ocean, right? Yeah, in the ocean there was network, right? So you really need that. Of course, the properties, most of the hotel properties, they provide Wi-Fi, but when you're up and down and traveling, going to sightseeing and all of that, you will need it. And for $10, it's super. I think it's a fair amount, right? And then the third thing that you need to do is that you need to change your currency. It's cheaper when you pay in Tanzanian shillings rather than in US dollars. For example, for something that they charge you $10, when you convert it to Tanzanian shillings, it might be the equivalent of $6, right? So yeah, that's very important. Change your currency. Right, so from Dar I then went to Zanzibar, and it was an 18-minute flight, and when I got there my driver was already waiting for me. So I communicated with the hotel that I was staying at that I need transport, and they organized everything for me. I gave them my flight number and then my arrival time, and that was $40. But on my way back from the hotel to the airport, as I came back home, I used booking.com, and it was $33 and some cents, which is more or less the same because of the charges and all of that, right? So you can just choose what works for you, either to book via your hotel or to do it online, right? So we then left the airport for Makofi, which is the first hotel that I stayed at. My driver was really friendly. Shout out to Toll. So he gave me a few lessons on our way, because I think it was about a 1 hour 30 to 2 hour journey from the airport. And the first lesson is that the locals don't like it when you say Tanzania. They want you to say Zanzibar. Right, so Zanzibar is the island, and then the mainland is called Tanganyika. So the mainland plus the island, that brings about Tanzania, right? But you have to be specific and to say Zanzibar. Second thing is that their language is Kiswahili, and then the person is Swahili. The opposite is true when it comes to the side. Like Shona is the language, then Mushona is the person, right? And for some funny reason, when they see that you're an African or black, they just assume that you know Kiswahili. So in most cases, in a lot of cases, I had to say, no, English, please. Yeah. And the locals, they're very, very nice. I tell you, very friendly people. Very, very friendly, right? So that was it. We then arrived at Makofi. I checked in, and I was ready to start my holiday trip. Makofi Guesthouse is the first place that I stayed at, and it was $26 a night. And guys, it's a very beautiful place. I highly recommend Makofi. 10 out of 10. The staff are friendly. The place is beautiful. The place, the rooms, they're really beautiful and great. And what you see on the pictures is what you get. I booked via booking.com, and guys, the reviews were good. And when I got there, it was exactly as I saw on the pictures. It was good. The only thing that wasn't good about it was their food, but you can always eat somewhere. But in terms of everything else, it was great, guys. 10 out of 10. The staff, the place, and everything in between. So it was $26 a night, and this includes bread and breakfast, right? So you notice that most of the times for lunch you eat out, or some places or some excursion that you go to, and then for dinner or supper you have to find a place where you eat and pay. So roughly I would say $15 per night for supper or dinner would be okay, depending on how you want to. If you want to go extra and have all the fancier meals, of course it's going to be more, but for $15 a night you'll be totally fine, right? And one of the things about Makofi is it's 1 minute from the beach. Like literally, guys, 1 minute. You know how people say it's 1 minute when it's 8 minutes, but this one is 1 minute, one minute walk, 1 minute walk. So I'll give Makofi a review of 10 out of 10. They were so great, right? So the first day I woke up, I had my breakfast, and then I walked to the beach, and guys, it was beautiful. Like my friend Kungotiba, like looking at the water and at the ocean. Remember, the sun just hit my face in a beautiful way, and there was such a breeze that was super great, and the tons of fresh air, guys. I remember just being like, wow, God, wow, right? It was just a beautiful sight. And it is at that point that I met the person who then became my tour guide. And I would highly recommend that for the tour guides, go on ground, because you realize that most of the prices that they put there is actually double. Like on their flyers or on Facebook and Instagram, it's actually double. I comparing with the online tour guides and the prices, I paid half almost on everything, right? So yeah, the locals are very nice. It's good to have a tour guide you know, on the ground, and like communicating before you travel. But like I said, these are just my own personal tips and experiences. You can do what works for you, right? So the first day I went on what they call a safari blue experience, and I paid $30. That is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We went on what they call the traditional door boat, right? And there's just something about experiencing the waters, like looking at them changing the colors from blue to light blue to turquoise blue, then to dark blue, then it becomes navy, some part of the water. So it was just amazing, and a little bit greenish and all of that. So it was just good watching the water changes and literally having to feel the water, you know. And then the first thing that we do was dolphin watching, and there's a wild dolphin, so they would really be running away from people, but just looking at them do that you know, that jump from the water back into the water again, it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to behold. It was just great. Then from there we went snorkeling at Member Island, and guys, I tell you, for me, snorkeling was the best. It was the best of the best, like the top one. I really enjoyed it. There's just something about looking into the waters, and you know, here in Zim, you're used to the brim, but this time I got to see different colors of fish. Guys, have you ever seen Hawaii yellow or blue? But I got to behold it. So it was a Finding Nemo moment, and I got to see this beautiful fish with diverse colors. I mean, Tajaira brim, grayish silver, but this time it was so beautiful, guys. It was just so beautiful, and just seeing the rocks at the bottom and the different colors of the fish, the different types of the fish, it was great. Honestly, it is the best activity. And if you cannot swim, don't worry about it. They give you a tour guide who's excellent, and they'll guide you. So I had a floater. I had taken some swimming lessons before, but it's different from swimming in the pool and in the ocean. The water is just too strong, right? So I opted to have a floater, but it was so divine, guys. It was so beautiful, just putting my head underwater, seeing the different kinds of fish. It was a divine moment. It was so divine. It was so divine. It was great, guys. 100 out of 10. That was a beautiful experience. And if there's something that I would wish to do again, it is snorkeling, guys. You should do it. You should try it. You should, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. Right. Then after snorkeling, we had lunch there, which is super good because they prepared the food on the boat, right? So we had fish and rice, and it was good because it was different kinds of flavors. I told you there was this thing about just tasting the type of the fish. I don't know what it's called, but the type of the fish, the flavors and the spices, because one thing about Zanzi is that it's got a lot of spices and a lot of fruits. So getting to have that, it was great, really great. My palate really enjoyed that exotic flavors and taste. So about 3 p.m. we came back. I went to the hotel, got refreshed, and it was now time for the sunset cruise. So the sunset cruise was $10. Initially it charged me $15, but I negotiated 10, and that is the thing, guys. One of the things that you have to do when you're in Zanzibar, negotiate, especially with the locals. You really have to negotiate, because sometimes they say, you're a tourist, you have a lot of money, which can be true to most people, but you really have to negotiate, right? So I ended up paying $10 and we went on the cruise. The cruise is also on a traditional door boat, and it's from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And there's just something about looking at the sun, as the sun is fading, guys. Sunrises and sunsets, they are underrated. It's so amazing to withhold. Everything else will be at peace. Just looking at the sun changing its colors, the yellow, the oranges, the reddish, as the sun is just fading and coming to this place of rest. And then I cannot explain it, guys. It was just beautiful to behold, and I'll talk about the sunrise later, but the sunset was amazing. The sunset was good, and the company as well was great because they have music, right? They'll be singing traditional music and playing their hoshos. I don't know the English name for that, but then they'll be playing their instruments and singing jambo wana na 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 akuna matata. And that's one thing about Zanzibar. Their tagline is Hakuna Matata, no worries. Literally, guys, like no worries. It's like you leave everything else behind, the worries about work, about money, about blah, and then you just live in the moment. No worries, guys. No worries. Hakuna Matata. So I enjoy that. And also in that, they serve juices, cocktails, drinks, whatever that you want. And it's $5, but if you want the beers and something stronger, it's about $7 to $10, right? But just for the regular juice and mocktails, it's $5, right? So that was so great. Then I came back, and then that was it for the first day. Then the following day, I went to 3 different places. That is the Prison Island, Nakupenda Sand, and Stone Town. So for that, I paid $40. And in my own opinion, this was the cheapest because lunch was included, then 3 different places, and then the transport, and it was about an hour and a half to, and then an hour and a half from as well. So it was a good deal. It was really a good deal. So we departed around 9 a.m. and I met this lady from Botswana, Lewakang, and it was that time of the Olympics, so we got to celebrate our gold medal. So chairman was Sadiq as a Sadak chairman. It's our win, their win is our win. So we got to talk about that. We celebrated over the gold medal, and then we also got to take each other's pictures, which was good. She became my photographer for the day, and I became hers as well. So the first place that we went to is the Prison Island, and then we got to learn a little bit about the island. We got to see giant tortoises over 100 years old, and there was this beautiful view. I'm going to insert it. It was so serene and peaceful, and I really enjoyed just looking at the water, just sitting there looking at the water. It was beautiful. Then after that, we went to Nakupenda Sand. So this is just in the middle of the waters, there's just this sandbank that is, it's not really big, but people go there for barbecue, for lunch. So that is where we went for lunch, and it was super chilly, cold, and there was a lot of wind, which was a great experience as well. So we had lunch, guys, and I had a lot of seafood. It was barbecue. I had calamari, prawns, shrimp, lobster, and different kinds of fish. So it was really great, and I got to taste the Novida drink. It was sweet but nice. I really enjoyed it. So after that, we then went to Stone Town, and guys, Stone Town is like beautiful. It's famous for its doors, which are made of teaks, and we got some lessons. There's the one with of the Arabs, which has a flag. Then there's one of the Indians, which has an animal, and then the other one is of the Omans. I don't remember what their sign on the door is, but it is beautiful. A lot of beautiful doors which are made of teak wood, right? And the thing about Stone Town is that they are lively places, and then they are quiet places. So it's like from one street you get there, it's a whole different setup. And one of the things that I would change about the whole trip is just having a night in Stone Town, also getting to eat at some of the places, trying out street food. And then we went to their market. It was busy. It was, it was good, a good type of mbari, if you know what I mean. But I really enjoyed Stone Town, and just learning about them, and just looking at the different places and seeing the market and all of that. It was good. Then I think about 5-ish p.m. we then headed back home, off to the hotel. Then that night I walked on the beach at night, Nungwi beach, by the way. I was in Nungwi, and it was beautiful. There's this coolness, there's this breeze, and just at night the beach is quiet, right? It's a bit quiet than during the day, and just looking at it and walking barefoot on the sand, it was just beautiful. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, that was the end of that day. Then the following day I went to Kendwa beach. Kendwa is a bit quiet, but Nungwi is more livelier, right? But this time around it was quiet, it was beautiful, and I really enjoyed a different feel of that beach, right? At Kendwa Beach, I did 2 activities. The first one is the clear kayaking, which is beautiful, and there's just something about seeing the water beneath you, because it's clear, and it's so light that you feel the water lifting you or pushing you or just drifting you. So it was beautiful, and I paid $20 for 30 minutes. The other activity was water cycling, and I paid $15 for about 15 minutes. And this was good because it reminded me of my childhood, because I had a bicycle. So this was almost similar to that, but on water this time. So it was a great experience, right? So yeah, those are the 2 activities that I did. And then I went to Baraka Aquarium. So at the aquarium, I paid $10 to swim with the turtles, to feed the turtles. And I was a bit afraid because I had heard stories that they bite. So I told Kuru, I'm going to insert a picture where I was like, ugh, yeah. But otherwise, I swam with the turtles. And there's just something about feeling them move. When you're in the water, you're feeling, that tail, or that, the thing that they use brush against you. And that's just like, oh, but in a good way, of course. So yeah, those are the 3 activities that I did, and I went back. For transportation, I paid $15. That is $5 from the hotel to Kendwa Beach. Then from Kendwa Beach to the aquarium, I paid another $5. Then from the aquarium back to the hotel, it was $5, so 15 in total, right? And it was now time to check out from Makofi. It was now time to say bye to Nungwi, and I checked out, and my driver was waiting for me to go to Jambiani. So I went to 2 places, Nungwi, which is at the northern part of the island, and then Jambiani, which is the southern part of the island. Then for the driver, he's the same one who had picked me up from the airport. I talked to him that I would need to go to Jambiani, right? So he gave me his number and we communicated. I paid $50 from Nungwi to Jambiani, and that was really, really cheap, because The hotel had offered to arrange that at $60, but then on booking.com it was $124, but then in person I paid $50. So you see, guys, you negotiate, you talk to the locals and the drivers, and it's a win-win for both, right? So yeah, that is it, and I had to go to Jambiani. On our way, they told my driver, he bought me a coconut drink, because I had said I'd never drink one before. I had never drank one before, so he bought me that coconut thing, and it was good. It tasted a little bit different from what I expected in my mind, but then it was good. And after you drink it, they open it for you so that you eat there's some whitey chalky stuff that you eat. But yeah, that is it. And then it took us about 2 hours from Nungwi to Jambiani. So in Jambiani, I stayed at Pili Sunrise Hotel. It was a different room from what I had booked, but I still got a good room, so that was okay with me. And I paid $44 a night. This was big, it was spacious, and I had my own balcony, and it was at the beachfront. So I had just to go on my balcony and see the beach, which was amazing. 10 out of 10. The location was 10 out of 10. However, the staff were a bit on the quiet side, unlike the staff in Nungwi, even the locals as well. The locals and the staff in Nungwi, they are lively, they come to you, but then the staff and the locals, they are a bit laid back, they are too quiet, and the whole part of the island is just too quiet. So I walked Jambiani beach that day. It was beautiful, and then I ate my dinner or supper, whatever you want to call it. But one of the things that I say is that they're the best food. They literally had the best food, like 10 out of 10. If you are ever in Jambiani, guys, go and eat at Casa Diamisi or Diamiki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but go and eat there. It's at the rooftop of Pili Sunrise, and that was good. Their food is really, really good. So yeah, I arrived in Jambiani, checked in, I walked the beach barefoot, and it was great. Then the following day was my birthday. The girl was turning 28. It was my birthday, and that morning I woke up and watched the sunrise. Guys, sunrise and sunsets, they are underrated. You know, when you wake up in Zimbabwe, the sun is over your head already, so you never get to see that. But this time experiencing that, just laying on my balcony and, you know, just looking at the ocean, looking at the waters, and seeing the colors and the sun emerging. It's yellowish, it's reddish, it's, you know, orangish, and that kind of color, it's coming out. See the line where the sky is the sea, it calls me. So looking at that the horizon, you know, when the sky meets the sea and the sun emerging, that was really, really beautiful. And that's something about it, the sun, you know, hitting my face, which was great. And it rained a little bit, well, it showered a little bit, and it was good for me. I was like, starting the birthday with showers of blessing. Thank you, Jesus. So yeah, that is it in the morning, and I got to have my big birthday breakfast. I paid $35 for that, and guys, it was a lot of food, a lot of delicious food, a lot of flavors, a lot of crunchiness and softness and all of that. I really enjoyed the breakfast, and there's just something about eating in water that is just amazing. So I was in a rooftop pool looking at the sea. How great is that? So it was beautiful. I really enjoyed it, and it was great. Like, amazing breakfast ever. So then I was done with the breakfast, I showered, and then I went to Paje Beach, which is a few minutes away from Jambiani, and I took the Bhoda. You know, I just took it for the fun of it. I just wanted to see how it feels. After all, this whole trip was of new experiences and just exploring new things. So the Bhoda was nice, and it was going a little bit faster, that I had to say, yo, slow down, slow down. I think I told him to slow down about 3 times for a very little short space of time. Right, then on my way back, I took the Bhajaji, you know, that 3-legged thing. It was quite an experience as well. I enjoyed just trying it out for the first time. So the Bhoda was $2, then the Bhajaji was $5, and this was a private one. But if you want a public one, it can be cheaper than that, but I really enjoyed that, that to and from trying out new modes of transport, right? So at Bhajaji Beach I did 2 activities. The first one is kite surfing. So kite surfing really needs about 3 hours for you, and the price is $100 for 3 hours, but then I just wanted to get the feel of it, so I negotiated and ended up paying $25 for about 1 hour, and I got some kite lessons, how to hold the kite, how to control the kite, and it was beautiful. And when I got into the water, the water would lift me up because the waves were strong, but I really enjoyed that, though I never got to snowboard, but I just got to to control the kite and just have that feel, which was great. I also did jet skiing, which was so amazing. I paid $35 for 30 minutes, which was great. I really enjoyed it, and there's just something about the view when you're seeing the seashore, when you're seeing the other boats, and this is just going speedily, and the water coming to your face and all of that. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's number 2 on my the best excursions, but I really enjoyed jet skiing. It was good, and I would do it again, right? So yeah, those were the 2 activities that I did at Bhajaji Beach, and then I went back to my hotel to freshen up and to change, and then it was now time for me to go to my birthday dinner. Oh yeah, it was more like a late lunch because I had it at 4 p.m. right? And I went to the renowned The Rock restaurant. Honestly, it's a bit overrated according to my own experience, and yeah, it's a bit overrated. If I'm to go back again, I wouldn't even bother myself to eat there, because their food was just normal in average. There was nothing spectacular about it, and on the pricier side as compared to the local to other restaurants. But I guess it's that feeling of eating in water, because it's literally in the middle of in the water, right? So you eat in the water. Yeah, that's literal translation of it. And my seat was at the balcony. Yeah, I had a balcony seat. Yeah, you can have indoors or outdoors, so I had the balcony table, so it was good that I was literally looking at the water. I was looking at the sea, at the water, and that was good. It was refreshing. And then for the price can be I think you'll need about $45, yeah, to be safe. But if you just need maybe just main meal and a drink, maybe $30-ish it's okay. But $45 you'd be good for a main meal and a good drink. $45 would be really good, which is honestly not worth it in my own opinion. But yeah, palace differ, and maybe it was just for that day. But then I love the experience of going there and eating in the water, and then taking a picture at the famous swing. I loved that, and I enjoyed just swinging there, even if it was just for a few minutes, because a lot of people wanted to take their pictures there. But I really enjoyed the thing of eating there, and just going there. And to actually get to the restaurant, we got into a canoe because the tide was very high, and there's just so much water that you can just walk to the restaurant, since it's in the middle of the water, right? And so for that trip I paid $20. That is from my hotel to Matemwe. Yeah, so the Rock restaurant, it's in Matemwe. That was $20 to and from. So the driver waits for you, and that is the good part. So I went there, I had my meal, and then we got to go back, right? So yeah, I had my birthday dinner at the Rock restaurant, and it was good. I came back, and I just got time to reflect and just to spend time, reflecting, refreshing, and just being grateful to God for the whole trip. And then I ended up ordering some other food. Remember, I had eaten at 4, so I ordered food at this Mexican restaurant, and I also had a birthday piece of cake. Yeah, not a cake, but just a piece of cake to just say happy birthday to myself. So yeah, that was it. That was the end of the whole trip. And the following day I had to come back to Zimbabwe, Kwasadza. But all in all, I had a very great experience. I felt refreshed. It was a moment of just every day I just experienced a wow God moment, wow God, wow God, wow God. And there's just something about, being in nature, away from the noises, away from the, all the other responsibilities, just enjoying the moment, experiencing new things, and I'll do it over and over again. And I tell you guys that there's something about traveling that's just open your mind. And as I came back, I was like, next year, where do I go to? Next year I need to go to places like Thailand. I need to travel. But yeah, personally, I would want this life of traveling, of going out and just, you know, getting to experience new places, new culture, new food. Yeah, for me, that is what I would want. And I pray that God blesses me with finances and the capacity to just have that lifestyle of going away, traveling, seeing new things, and then coming back refreshed and relaxed. So yeah, that was my rest day. And if there are things that I would change, number one is to spend more days. Number two is to spend just a day at the beach, no activity, get a sunbed and just spend a day at the beach, just look at the water, just refresh and eat, walk the beach couple number of times and just sit there. And I would also want to spend at least a day and a night in Stone Town, you know, just to do a little bit of shopping and to experience also their food. And I think I would also want to do swimming with the horses. I wanted to do this. It was $60, but the time that I wanted to book, they were overbooked up to the next Monday, and at that time I would have gone home. So that is the only activity that I didn't manage to do. Then I also wanted to go to Spice Market, but then the packages that they offered that day that we went to Prison Island, they had Nakupenda instead, so I ended up going there. But I didn't mind. It wasn't a big issue for me that I missed Spice Town, but there are a lot of things and a lot of places to go to. Then for shopping, it depends with what you want, but I spent about $150. I bought some stuff for myself, a dress and a Zambia for my mom, 2 shirts for my dad, 1 summer shirt and 1 safari shirt. Then for my sister, I got a t-shirt and a sling bag, and then I got a couple number of stuff for myself. So it just depends with what you want to buy. But yeah, I got a little bit of shopping and everything else. It was great and it was amazing. And I'm still at that point where I say, God, thank you for Zanzibar. You know, I was like, Lord, thank you. It's also a wild thing for me that I actually went there. I actually took a solo trip. I actually, me, the one who had never traveled, I went, you know, to a foreign country that doesn't speak English as their first language. And I just got to enjoy. And it was the best birthday ever. And I really got to enjoy myself. I really got to refreshed. And when I came back, I was just so in the mood of, you know, starting this new season of my life. That is it from me today. Until next episode, rest guys, rest.